I was still in the sixth form school, technically, but I was spending 4 days a week in the King's Road and designing T-shirts for this shop, Acme Attractions, that was a big rival with Sex, the McLaren Westwood shop. And they had the Sex Pistols, which of course, you know, were amazing. And I saw them at the 100 Club in May '76, and just the attitude, you know, because no one had done that before, of just going on stage, this is what we do, if you don't like it, piss off. Because we were kind of wearing those clothes anyway, but they gave it a music. It was great because there's that whole thing where like you didn't necessarily need money, you know, you could just get ripped jeans from a shop. You know, torn T-shirts, torn tights were suddenly where it was at. And it was nice because it reversed everything, and suddenly the people that had the like £300 flared jeans were suddenly not fashionable. It was also a way of being creative, because then, and right up until the 90s really in England, people that were that cutting edge didn't just buy clothes, they'd buy clothes and do something with it. You'd cut a sleeve off, or you add something, or you put a safety pin there, or you'd do something. So it was like, it was interactive. It was a living culture, you know, which is, it's funny to talk about it in Kyiv because there's so much here that's like that. There's so much culturally happening, and it reminds me a little bit of those times.
So the summer, which was the greatest moment, in a way, those kids were going to just cover parks all over London with this idea of trying to find the myth, find the scene, find the Sex Pistols, hang out, change the world, change life, change the culture.
I kind of met him at the 100 Club when the Sex Pistols were playing, and I got to know him, became a kind of friend, and we kind of did loads of interviews later, but at that time I was just doing stuff like putting up posters for him. Me and a few other guys, he'd give us posters and we'd get into the gigs for free for putting these posters up. But it kind of got dangerous around the time of God Save the Queen, because then, you know, the police would, you know, put you up against the wall and people would throw bricks at you and stuff. It's just that England then was very conservative, and you weren't allowed to say that. You couldn't make a sarcastic song about, and it wasn't really about her, it was about the whole system. The fact that, you know, the people at the top don't know what they're doing and don't care about us, you know, and it's still the same almost everywhere now, you know, and no one had put it like that, no future. And it was that Cold War time where seemed to be no future, that you were always 4 minutes away from maybe a nuclear war, and no one had sung that. It's like that Sex Pistols song, Holidays in the Sun, about the Berlin Wall. No one had ever written about that. You know, it's crazy, it'd been there for 20 years and no one talked about it. And someone did, and it was great that someone finally said about the elephant in the room. I think he changed so much, and she helped him. They did so much, really, because, you know, if you call popular culture rock and roll, let's call it just rock and roll, it was dying. You know, people had been wearing sort of flared jeans, long hair for 10 years. You know, bands were getting more and more expensive to see. It had become this thing for the elite. And suddenly this thing threw it wide open. And, you know, they did things that I didn't always approve of, and some of the clothes kind of were too much, really. But it was great. It sort of made things so lively and unleashed all this talent. When ordinary people finally had a voice, you know, there were just thousands of new groups. Funny, there was this thing that people could apply themselves to. And Malcolm was a friend, so when he died, someone said to me at the funeral, you know, you interviewed him so much in Paris, you've got all that film, you have to do this documentary. And he was a friend of the McLaren family, so I just thought, oh wow, maybe I have. Did was art, the clothes, the music, the fact they created this thing. And I think you look at it now, the music of festivals is like indie, you hear that stuff, and it's the guitar music that the Pistols and the Clash did. It's not that dissimilar, the same roots. I mean, that's why Nirvana loved the Sex Pistols, that's why Green Day and the Clash, you know, it all comes back to that thing. They restarted what had been great in the 60s and what had died, and that's why we're still talking about it 40 years later, because they restarted something that was dying. They brought life back to it, and I think McLaren and Westwood, sometimes, like I said, they took things too far, but they kicked up a lot of dust. And some of that dust still sparkles. Some of those clothes are still amazing. Some of those records are still amazing. You can make things better or worse than they were. You can look at the idealism or you can not look at it. And I tended to look at the idealism and also the thing of like, just remember that, people getting beaten up. 2 of the Sex Pistols were hospitalised, were stabbed. I knew people that were beaten up. It was just, the reaction against it then was so strong that it kind of, you wanted to tell the other side of the story. It looks like people just think, oh, there's this music just came. I mean, someone, art student, said to me in London a couple of years ago, it's like, yeah, London's incredibly tolerant now. Why were you bothering with this documentary? And I'm saying it's tolerant because of the people in this documentary. They changed it.
But the conversation that we need to have is about values. Punk provided an opportunity for the No Future generation of the 1970s to create a way out of it. Not trusting the media, not trusting the politicians, investigating the truth for yourself. Goodbye.
Well, I feel kind of responsible in a way because we burnt a load of stuff at the end of the film, although 99% of that was reproductions, it wasn't real. And he saw my film a week before he announced in spring that he was going to burn the stuff. So I said to him, did you get the idea from the film? He said, oh no, not really. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't, but I kind of like stupid gestures, but I think it was a waste. And I think in a way it's like playing into the establishment's hand of like, it wasn't really culture. It's disposable. And actually, I think that, some of those clothes, some of those ideas, still look amazing. I mean, some of the guys here, we should show them later wearing the clothes because that's an amazing look. No one had done clothes like that before. And in a way, no one's done it since, and that, I think, is one of the things that should be remembered. It's part of culture. Don't destroy what you've done. Destroy other things to make something, but don't destroy what you've done yourself. So in a way, I think it was a mistake.
Was wearing that black bondage suit, the first one me and Vivian put together.
But anyway, all the bondage straps are what came in next. And first of all, I tried to put them on a T-shirt and it wouldn't work. And you came home and said, try it on a shirt, and that's when you got this kind of bondage.
That is the Westwood parachute shirt, which McLaren did in '76, and it's just mixing sort of bondage and also a parachute top. And it was the kind of thing that was like really expensive when they did it. It was like £25, which is like 200 something now, which to a 17-year-old, I had to save up for months to get one of those. Where the Westwood legend comes from is that kind of like all those details. It's just, there's a lot going on there. It's a continual thing. There's always been this thing of like, it's the dance music, but there's also music that you make yourself, or you try and make yourself, and you try and express yourself. You can dance to someone else's stuff, but have your own opinions, say your own songs. So I think it's a continual thing, and I think, how do you commemorate it? Create, I think, that's it.